know what they were doing. I thought they were asking about bird watching. I didn't know what that was. So I had
Uh,
no idea.
Oh, yeah, yeah. It says hunting, you have to hunt the right trees too. It says successful
Right.
morel mushroom hunters seem to fall into two groups:
Or a
those who look
harvest
for
rather,
certain
yeah.
varieties of trees, which are tree hunters, and those who look for distinctions in the lay of the land. The dead elm is a favorite among the tree hunters, but many also swear by hickory, ash, or sycamore trees, and some even say there is a symbolic relationship between morels and the trees. This
Oh.
is certainly true of many types of fungi, but since morels can sometimes be found growing in a treeless yard or
Oh.
patch of moss or on a muddy bank, it is hard to prove this theory. However, the continued success of many tree hunters cannot be denied, so this method should not be discounted. One tree hunting method in which almost all avid morel mushroom hunters agree is that old apple orchards produce morels. And if
Oh.
you are lucky enough to hunt an area with old apple trees, check it often. Don't give up on it, as many times the large yellow morels which grow beneath them will appear about a week after everything else is gone.
Hmm.
So, morels, I just love them because when I used to live in
Never had them. Yeah.
oh, they look like big brains.
Yeah, I know. I did that one, but yeah, it's funny. I've never eaten a morel. I have no idea what they're
Oh
like.
my gosh, you're missing
Yeah.
so much. They
Oh.
taste like meat. They're just really thick, and you can slice them, and they're just like a
Mm.
slab of steak. And you saute them in butter and
Wow.
add rosemary or whatever else to them. And I know in my area, people that look for morels are they're kind of like the people that grow ginseng in the South. They get very protective of their morel mushrooms and will sick dogs on you or shoot bullets at your
Wow.
feet or whatever because they don't want people getting because I'm very scared of looking for mushrooms, but you can't go wrong on those big old brains, those big,
Mm.
because they look so much like a brain.
So they really stand out as a safe mushroom because they have a distinct appearance, right?
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely. So you can't
Okay.
go wrong.
Well, now mushrooms in folklore, mushrooms in general,
Mhm.
um,
Tell
is
me about
seen
it.
as a plant of immortality.
Mm.
That's what the ancient Egyptians believed, according to the hieroglyphics. The delicious flavor of the mushrooms intrigued the pharaohs so much that they decreed that the mushrooms were food for royalty only.
Wow.
And this
Except the
way,
peasants were eating them
there
in the
was more for
background like
them,
crazy.
right? Yeah. Well, and in Russia, China, Greece, Mexico, Latin America, mushroom rituals were practiced, you know, and many people believe that the mushrooms had properties that could produce superhuman strength or even do mystical things, finding lost objects, and perhaps lead the soul to the realm of the gods. But I think mushrooms are delicious, and I like portobellos and the common button mushrooms
Mm,
that we typically see
mhm.
because they do have a flavor of their own. Now, the other day, I had gotten a hold of the big portobellos. The big portobellos, and it's very simple. I have a very simple thing that I do with them because they're so big. I decide to treat them like little mini pizzas. That's my
Oh,
crust,
oh, wow.
and you put the topping on top of that and you throw it in the oven, and it's that's your vegetable entree. It is this mini pizza.
And I've seen them even in the meat section where they'll have in with the meat, they'll just have like big portobello mushrooms stuffed with
Mhm.
crab and things.
Oh, yum. Yeah, it's so it's a very easy thing. I mean, I know we talk about recipes sometimes, and I have to say that a lot of what I do, I don't use a recipe, because
Mm.
I you know just don't really think about it. You just kind of do it, because you have common
Right.
sense and you know. And with me, I've eaten enough mushrooms to know what's appropriate, to throw them into. But I like them enough that I do like them in quite a few places, and stir fry if I make Chinese, and
Mm.
I gotta have the mushrooms, and I like
Do
them.
you use a wok?
No, I don't have one. Actually, there is one around here somewhere, but I can't find it. It's been packed, and I don't know what happened to it somewhere. I have to find it. But no, I've been trying to do my stir fry without a wok, and I will say it's not the same. It's
No,
not
it's
the same.
not. I
Yeah,
remember back in the old days, um,
I
back
really all you need is the wok
way
pan.
back.
You don't
Yeah,
need the plug in. You
the
just need the
wok.
pan. Yeah, yeah.
Hmm. And it seems to what the wok does is evens the heat perfectly all the way around for the
Oh yeah,
vegetables
and it keeps your
and
stuff
the.
from getting
Mm.
soggy because the juices roll down, and then your food is up along the sides, for the stir,
Mhm.
so that it can get toasted properly. Otherwise, it sits in the juices and it just becomes mush, you know.
Right.
So you could do stir fry in a large pan if it's a large enough pan that you have room to work and to spread everything out. And that's what I've been doing, lately. It's just simply just working on the stove that way. And I like, I
Oops, lost you again. You're kind of
like
the Skype gods are must be on mushrooms with you
my
today. I want to say that arguably the most classic
rice.
morale recipe is the simple battering of the morale, and then dipping it in flour or
Mhm.
cornmeal, and then sautéing it in butter in a cast iron skillet.
Oh,
Here we love our cast iron. We use almost cast iron all the time, and without a doubt, delicious by most
I like
taste
stainless
buds in
steel.
the world. There are many of morale enthusiasts who feel anything less than a plate of egg and cracker flour battered morels is a waste of morale. So
Mm,
dipping it in crackers and egg, and then sautéing it in a big lush cast iron pan of real butter is probably arguably the best way to cook morels.
mm. Sounds yummy.
Yes. And I'm sorry I didn't catch some of what you were saying because the Skype kind of went on
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
fritz
Well,
there.
I'm not sure if I was lost completely, but I don't remember what it was that you didn't hear. Um, I think I was talking about portobellos. I'm not really
Hmm.
quite sure if I lost you
Yes.
at that point. But
Hmm.
like I said, I treat them like pizzas, and like I said too about before about cooking is that if you do it enough, you develop a muscle memory, a muscle knowledge for how to throw some things together, and you get that
Yes.
common sense of what spices would go well. And if you're not sure, hey, I always say if you're working with a new spice, a new flavor, taste it first before you throw it in.
Hmm.
So see if you actually, even if the recipe calls for it, you never heard of it, it might help if you taste it before you throw it in. See if you like it.
Do you do you well
Uh,
do you feel that that there after a while when you do your own cooking that it starts to all taste like your favorite herbs and your favorite I've noticed that with my when I cook without recipes, which is most of the time because I get stuck in a rut myself,
mm,
and I have favorites that I cook over and over, but
mm,
sometimes I know that I have certain um herbs that I use and favor, and I know that my husband husband probably feels that a lot of the times my food starts to taste a lot the same if I do it by
Ah.
scratch, but
Well,
you're
I
probably
try not
more.
to throw in the same things all the time. If I'm doing Italian, if I'm making things from my heritage, I tend to use oregano, and the Italian
Yes.
type seasoning.
Yes.
The else,
Mhm.
um, I leave that sort of thing out of my Oriental cooking, except for the basil. Okay, because
Mhm.
some things cross over. If I'm doing Thai, I tend to do red curry, and other flavors that are completely different. I really try to avoid, but but there's going to be some seasonings that are actually used by different cultures that are the same, because the Mexicans use oregano too, so
Mm.
it's just
Mhm.
that Mexican oregano is different than Greek oregano, and there's a lot of different kinds of oregano. Um, but they too use oregano, and I've had Thai food that like say beef and basil. I
Mhm.
mean, I say basil. Some people say basil.
I was gonna say that
Um,
that's different than I'm used to hearing it, but
mhm. I know it's funny. My brother keeps correcting me. He says it's basil. It's like I don't know why I call it basil, but I know I'm not incorrect. So
right.
I know it's different,
It sounds
but it's
very
not.
cultured.
I don't do it on purpose. It just that's what comes out of my mouth, and I don't know why it even started. But it just that's I mean nobody else in my family says basil. They don't say it. I don't know where
It's from a past life thing, I guess, huh?
I don't know. Maybe it's just the way my I don't know. Maybe it's the deformity in my mouth or something, or my
Could be, I
brain.
don't
I don't
know,
know.
but I never thought you had a deformity in your mouth, but,
Oh well, or my brain.
you
It's
know, one of the things I thought in this is, Spring Wolf's, Pagan's Path, Witchcraft and Shamanism, the mushroom ring.
Mhm.
And the mushrooms, it says, may grow in a naturally occurring arcs or circles, and they can expand a diameter of 10 feet or more, growing
Oh
into
wow.
other rings. And as the mushrooms use the nutriments of the ground, they begin to die and create dead zones. And this often occurs as the mushroom rings cross into the territory of other mushroom rings, as if the mushrooms are having a war within themselves. At times, the above ground components of a mushroom may die, but leave the underlying fungus in the soil, and this can create a grassy ring, making
Oh,
the grass above appear withered or varying in color. But it says folklore says the fairy ring folklore can be found throughout Europe, and each has some element of metaphysical or magical undercurrents for
I like
the
that.
yes.
Actually,
It's
we have quite a few fairy rings in our yard, in our backyard.
mushroom ring.
And it's funny because if you look at it, it looks like they're running across the yard. It just seems like there's this trail of these mushrooms, and they always look like they're marching off someplace. It's very
They
funny.
probably are.
Yeah, and we had photographed this. We had kept a record of their changes, from the beginning to when they start to collapse, and then they just totally disappear. And at some point, then the dogs just knock them over. The
Yeah,
dogs are out running
yeah.
around. Poof, there it
Darn it.
goes. Yeah, they don't care.
It says one of the first appearances of fairy rings comes from German speaking Europe, and fairy rings were known as witches' rings. And these rings were created by witches gathering and dancing in the forest for pagan
Cool.
rituals. In English folklore, mushroom rings were also known as fairy or pixie rings. And these were caused by fairies or pixies dancing in a circle. Wouldn't you know it, Germany would
I
have
love
the
it.
witches
Yeah.
and yep. And in Scandinavia folklore, mushroom circles were created by elves. Like the English legends, they were created by elves dancing in circles,
Oh,
leaving their
sweet.
magical presence behind in the form of mushrooms.
I
But
like
it's
that.
cute how and I know that when my little boy was growing up, we always looked for mushroom circles or mushroom fairy circles, just
I
part of
like
the
the idea, and I hope that some of that folklore is true. because I like the idea. I think it's kind of cool that it's like, ooh, I have something mystical happening in my backyard. I
You know,
love that.
I don't know if kids anymore are as sweet and innocent as they used to be on those, but I hope so.
Oh, well, the thing is, I know that we always hear most about the ones who stand out the most, you know. But I'm sure that there are still a lot of little kids that are pretty much the same way that we were, you know. I really
You
do
know,
think so, especially like,
I
it
I
depends on who their parents are, and what kind of parents they have. And
thank you very much because I was just talking to a teacher friend yesterday, and she was beside herself. She's an art teacher,
mhm.
and she said that she was just noticing that this year that the kids, like, she would touch one on the arm or the back and say good job, and she said once in a while, both in kindergarten and especially the middle grades, they would say touch me again and I'll sue you,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
or they cop this attitude of and she said that it was
That's their
so frustrating.
parents.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and she said she
Yeah,
can
thank you so
really,
much.
yeah, she can really tell the difference of no spanking generation because she said the kids were throwing around the word suing, and
Mhm.
and she's kind of like an old flower child herself and very soft voiced, and it seems as if the kids, just for whatever reason, it just
Well, the thing is,
it's
the kids now also, if they don't like an adult, they somehow think that they have a new weapon now, and that is, you touched me.
mhm.
And that was going on in our school system because there were a few kids that wanted to get even with one of our custodians, and they started to pull that crap,
Mm,
and it's like, you know
mm.
what? That's not even funny. Yeah, that's what he told them because they said, we'll just say blah blah blah, and he turned around and he said, that's not even funny. You think it's a joke? It's not even funny.
Mhm. Yeah,
Because
that's
actually there was
sad.
an entire town that had a high
I was
incidence of
thinking of
arrests,
that.
and it was all started by these kids that thought it would be really hilarious to have all their. And actually, South Park even did a parody of this, where the whole town was arrested because everybody was a child molester because they were just
Was
pointing
that the
fingers
one
right
where
and
they were
left, right.
saying the families were trading their children or something,
Yeah, it's just
and
really, really, it's a
just
shame. It's a
horrible.
shame because that's ruined childhood, really. It really is. And I know that when we were kids, we were taught, like, how to be careful, and how to deal with strangers. But we were not made to be rude and nasty like that, or unkind or threatening, or it was just, I mean, we were kids and we didn't have those thoughts in our mind. We were kids and we were basically doing what most kids did, was that
Right.
we had fun and we had imaginations and we ran and we played and we slept well because we played hard throughout the day. And
Right.
we didn't sit in front of a computer all day. And when we saw our friends, we actually saw them in person. And we
Mhm.
weren't on the phone, and we didn't have our devices at the dinner table. We had conversation, and I still have conversation at my dinner table. So that's just how it is.
Right, right, yeah, and she was just so
Yes.
sad. I mean,
Yeah, I don't
she was
blame
the
her.
most
I'd be so
beloved teacher in the
depressed.
school just a few years ago, and she says that
Yeah.
the mentality had changed so much this year. But I don't want to sound like a couple of old people talking about,
No, I
oh,
don't. But
back in
it
the
is sad that
days.
it's sad. Okay, the thing is, it's good to let the younger generations know what they've lost so that they can try to get back.
I can't help but
You
think it's going
know,
to peak. There'll be a
uh,
tipping point where
because
what
I think that
is
they've lost a
happening.
lot. We have these wonderful toys to play with, and I will say it's great because I've got a few of them too. It's wonderful. I love technology, But,
Mhm.
it is not life. They are tools that we use, and it should not substitute the things that you should be enjoying. Okay, now that you have the technology and have more time to spend with
Mhm.
your friends, what do? You're on the phone.
Mhm.
you
Yes.
know,
Yes.
you know,
Yeah.
or you're looking at a bunch of crap on YouTube. No, I'm not saying YouTube has crap. I'm just saying that it's an eclectic bunch of material out there, and a lot of it is wonderful because we're seeing new and creative things, but we're also seeing just any old thing that people throw up there that's in bad taste, and also a
Ha
lot of like really horrible things from the news that people I don't really particularly want to see myself, frankly. But that's what they do with their spare time. It's like, well, hey, we have the technology now. We could think about other things. Now our time is freed up from the mundane, and we could think about other things. And what do they do? Nothing.
Well, I was
you know?
I it was really whenever I want to catch up on the times, I
Yeah.
go to my Latino hairdresser who is amazing, and you have to book him like 3 to 4 months ahead of time. His name is Jose, and he treats you like an art project. He puts your head like this, he puts your head like that, he puts it
Uh,
this way, and then I'm a muddy blonde, so he streaks me. And
dishwater blonde.
the the thing is, he turned me on to this new YouTube. It's not hypnotherapy, it's it's
Binary waves.
like, huh?
Is it binary waves and things with
Something like
sound
that.
waves
It,
and
well, yeah, but it's like people and everybody just whispers. And
oh,
he says he loves to eat and he's really staying thin, but he watches this one who is this woman who does nothing but make smacking noises with her mouth,
oh, how
and she
strange.
and she whispers, and people will bring her food, and she opens up this aluminum foil very sensually, and then she takes a bite, and she talks, I am just eating this and I love it so much. And she goes for half an hour in whispers. And they have a special microphone that picks up the slightest little sound of a smack, or the whispers come out very loud,
hmm
and it
Very high
has the
powered.
microphone
Yeah.
has an ear on the left side and an ear on the right side, and you can muffle one ear or the other, or it's just bizarre. And then he showed me another one where a guy role plays a Reiki master, and then he talks, and he's been around for 5 years. He's
hmm
gay, and he's got quite a following, and he talks like this, and he says, I am your Reiki master, and I am going to attune you. And then he talks and he attunes them on the screen. And and I after I left, I'm going, whoa, this is really the new thing. He goes, oh
Wow. Well,
yeah.
I've never heard of it.
And
Must
it's
be.
made, it's he says hypnotherapy is out, and he says this is the new in, for people who have a hard time sleeping. And he says after you have 25 minutes of listening to someone whisper, he says that you start to get tingles all over your body, and then you fall asleep or you
Mhm.
relax. I wish I could remember what it's called. It's an actual name. If you look it up on the internet, whispering hypnotherapy or whatever it
Wow.
is, um, you
Well,
can
it
get.
it opens up possibilities for actors, because you want to have somebody who could really convey all that, and looks good on camera. Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's a
And it
lot of
has.
see people when people say acting, it's like they don't really realize there's a lot. you can do other than just make a movie, or you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of jobs for people who do have these talents, you know, and if they check
Right.
auditions and check news, the people that make these types of videos and other videos are always looking for people. I'm just
Right.
saying, it's true.
And
Yeah.
they have, he says you can pick what you love most, like he has, they'll be
Mhm.
role playing. And one person, I saw her, she was from Japan, and she was a skin doctor, and she goes, "Come in." And then she goes, "Come into
Oh
my
God.
office. Oh, oh, I see your skin. Oh, oh, you have, oh, I see. You have an infection right there by your mouth." And then she talks to the camera and does, acts like she's looking at somebody's face and touching it. And then she's just
So it's point
totally,
of view.
totally calm. Yeah. And there's another one that pantomimes cutting hair, and they talk for half an hour this way in quiet whispers. So
But
it's
now,
just crazy.
how did it make you feel? Because I was thinking I would start to get annoyed a little bit, maybe.
I was
I
just
don't
so
know.
amazed. I was just so amazed. I was like, "Wow." And he had this really long word for it, and it's like you said, something to do with brain waves and
Yeah.
something to do with how these
I
people
suppose
have it down.
if they're hitting my brainwaves right with
Mhm,
this, if I go to
mhm,
look at this, then I probably wouldn't find it annoying, you know,
mm, mhm.
because there's a technology to it. So if they know
Oh,
what they're doing, then
absolutely.
well, that's why certain music appeals to certain people. It has to
Right.
do with your own, and if your waves are not going in that particular way, you're not going to like it. You know, I mean, it just has to do with what you like. Like you might notice that, say, even the music in your collection,
Mhm.
it's all kind of, it's
The
not the
same?
same. It's not the same, but there's a certain feel to it that's the same.
Mm.
Somebody might say it's all the same, but they're thinking it's all the same because in terms of brain waves, it's all the same, you know.
And you do
So,
that
yeah.
too, don't you, Joseph? I mean, you do trance music, right?
Well, I do what I call progressive rock, for lack of a better word, or sometimes it's called avant-garde, and sometimes it's just called, you know, artsy fartsy.
Ah,
But
artsy
I I
fartsy.
I work more with sound, you know, and
Yes, you do.
I have a
The
lot of
music,
background.
our
Well,
our intro was
there's
written by you. Our intro was
yeah.
written
Well,
by
actually,
you.
that is the intro was by me, and actually, it's performed by me, and
Mhm. It's
it's
your
mixed
voice,
and
it's your
recorded
music,
by me.
everything.
It's actually I did it in my basement with on my computer. But yeah,
Mhm.
it's actually really, you know, it's really being played. It's just that I play it on my keyboard and not on my, you know, not on an instrument. I use my computer keyboard
And you
to
can use your
create my
voice
sounds.
in a way that
And I can alter
harmonizes
the
with it and
voice.
everything.
I can alter the voice to, you know, I do a lot of things with vocal. Actually, when I do things typically with these particular sound projects I do, um, I tend to make multiple layers of my voice in different pitches and then layer them on top of each other like a big sandwich so that
Okay.
there's a density. And the difference between doing that and if, say, recording multiple people at the
Mhm.
same time is that there's a change in harmonics, you know, when you do that, you know, because if I'm in a everyone's voice and the end result is going to sound different when it's blended in the room because we have the echo and we have
Mhm.
the blending, and that's why my vocals always sound kind of ghostly or eerie,
Yeah, they
because
do.
what I do is I record it single and then
Mhm.
I stack it, and there's
Mhm.
no other sound but those. And I do the same thing with musical instruments. I change the voices of them and then I stack them on top of each other, so you really can't tell what exactly it is.
Mhm. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and it's done on
Hey,
purpose, and
we have
sometimes
we have
yeah,
some
so yeah,
people. We have Billy from
absolutely.
Arizona, and
Hi,
Casimir from
Billy.
Ohio, and Emily from Connecticut. And
Cool.
we have. So, should we start some readings?
Yes. Who's first?
Billy from Arizona inquired that he would like a general reading, especially for the next month or two. And so I'm going to look at that as more what comes through as, and I'll let you take over.
Well, um, okay, go on. You wanna go
Oh,
first,
okay.
right?
Okay.
You
So
did
I
say that,
guess I'll
right?
start out
Oh, you want
and
me to?
well, you can do what you want. You go ahead and say for Billy from
Oh, okay.
Arizona,
Well, I'll
what do you
start,
see
and this
for
way
this
then
month and next
okay.
month?
Okay, over the next 2 months, well, I am seeing that I'm seeing that in the past, you had some priority issues, like, kinda like things were kind of out of balance for you, or, even though things seemed to be going well, there was something out of balance with your past, you know, I do see that oh, I would say maybe you have a past that involves maybe some self-destructive tendencies, either emotionally or physically, or something that you're doing. But I'm seeing that as part of the past. And I'm seeing that as something that if you haven't stopped burning your candle at both ends already, I do see that that's kind of phasing out. You're moving into a new phase, and that's a good thing, really. I do see that right now, I do see that there is somebody in your life who is a help. This is perhaps a friend or a boss, a coworker, or somebody in your family, or someone that you're just close to. He's a man who uh, who kind of conceals his emotions. He not good. He's not good with small talk and doesn't say much, but he's a sharp person and he's very analytical and he kind of helps keep you on track. It's good to know somebody this way. It could be kind of abrupt and maybe he's a bit judgmental, but overall, this is somebody who has natural leadership skills, and this is somebody who has great ideas and somebody that you can count on. And this is what I'm seeing at the present time or soon to be coming in. So this is one of those present day, soon to be present day improvements that I'm seeing here for you. And this is like over the next 2 months, in now and over this time that you've asked about. So I do see that this is all going to result in you having more inner peace and you're going to find yourself having more strength in the future. I do see that you're going to be busy with things. Um, I do see that if you learn to be more positive, I do see that you're going to see results for even having positive things to say and a positive way of dealing with other people. And after a while, it will just come natural, and you're going to enjoy these new results. I do see that you're going to have answers to a lot of questions that you've had in the past. But I do see
I
some interesting revelations that things you've always wanted to know. I do see that coming to you.
I
Yeah,
would add to that, Billy, that and very much I like the word that you called self-sabotage, Joseph,
yeah.
and
You
it
did
may
self.
not
He had a tendency
necessarily
to do
be,
that.
in
Yeah.
a obvious way, but it says
Well, no. Yeah.
last month you went through, or in the recent past, you went through a time where you said, okay, I'm just going to go with the flow. I'm just going to allow things to happen the way they do, and I'm not going to get whacked out. I'm not going to get insecure. I'm just going to see where things go. Well, this month it says for whatever reason, Billy, and just for another for because I don't know how to say it anything other than like Joseph said, that self-sabotage maybe is too serious a word, but I'm showing you
Yeah.
going backtracking. I'm
Mhm.
showing that you're starting to have doubts about going with the flow, that perhaps things weren't happening fast enough for you, or perhaps things didn't pan out for you the way that you had wanted. Consequently, it says you go back into being more relaxed again in June. And June is seen as the month where you suddenly are back to being grateful and feeling as if things are going okay again. Now, if I do an angel reading real quick here, it says you have three angels that come through. The first angel seen, and this is clear your space. And it says that Archangel Joviel says, get rid of the clutter, clear the energy around you, and use feng shui, which just is saying that this is a time where you need to get rid of all that excess baggage that you're worrying about. And then I get the angel, Archangel Ariel. It says, just stand up for yourself, which means that it's time for you, now that you've cleared your space, to stand up for yourself and be courageous. And the last one says, because you're standing up for yourself and because you're being more courageous, you suddenly start having relationship harmony. And so that says, it says Archangel, I don't know how to say some of these names, Ragiel, it says your angels are opening the hearts of everyone around you, which basically says that when you take your bitch pill and you stand up for yourself, people treat you better. Okay, that's what
What
I've
was
got.
that
I don't
angel's name? Was it? Did you say Raphael?
know. Raguel.
Oh, I don't know how. Yeah, I'd have to see that in print. I would say that's close enough. What you got? It sounds about right.
Yeah, yeah, it's just
Yeah,
so it says, so basically when you go back with
yeah.
it's, and we all do this, don't we? We all say, okay, whatever happens, happens. And then sometimes right in the midstream, we all sudden get paranoid that we're not doing enough when we were
Mhm.
just on track. And then we have to learn to let go again. So anyway, I'm going
Cool.
to go to the next person, which is Casimir from Ohio.
Hi,
What does
Casimir.
what does my job situation look like? Plus, I'm getting an inkling about moving out of state. Okay, Joseph, what do you have on this?
Okay,
And we have 14 minutes left, so we're going to have to keep these a little bit brief into the five
a little
minute
tighter.
range. Mhm.
Okay. Well, I do see that in the past, you might have been seeing things a bit superficially or dealing with things, or simply you might have found things more comfortable to deal with in a more superficial manner in the past. Um, it seems like in the past you had a tendency, though, not to take action, and I do see that perhaps even you've had some disappointments, maybe in relationships and or at work, and you've been disappointed with work in the past. I do see that that's the past. Okay, I do see something new happening in the present day. And if it's not here now, it's soon to be here. I do see love. I see the Two of Cups. Now, this could indicate a relationship and a nice love affair. Or, since this is a question about work, it could be that you will finally get along well or have a good match, a good marriage, so to speak, a good work marriage at work. I do see this working out
Mm,
for you. I do
mhm,
see it's a good start, and I think that's going to be great. At the end, at the end of things here, at the gist of the answer, I get the Six of Wands, and it does say that your plans are going to work out. I do see wishes and plans finally working out into terms of the work. And wands usually do indicate the work world. Um, I do see hard work. You're going to be working hard, and but it's going to work out. It's going to be worth it. And I do see plans working out, and I do see some success happening here.
I would
Okay.
go into that and say that you're doing just fine in your job. I'm showing people are grateful for you. You seem to have a lot of energy and passion at what you're doing. From what I'm looking at, Casimir, it says um, the one thing that isn't jiving it for you is that you're getting more and more impatient for growth. And it says that you're going to have to speak out or do something if you're looking for growth at your job. Be a little more ambitious about letting people know what it is you want. If I look at what angels represent you quickly for your and for moving into the future as you wanted to do. What comes through for you in the three angels? The first one is if you're going to talk it, do it. Be courageous. Don't allow yourself to say, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this and then not do it. The next
Mhm.
one I get is relationship harmony, which says your angels are opening up the hearts of the people around you at work. Arguments are being resolved. So if you're thinking about moving to go to another job, understand that relationship harmony says things are going okay. And so I do see for moving, and you'll like this one, Archangel Ariel. It says, don't hold back. The time is perfect. You are ready to soar.
Good.
So it says, spread your wings. Okay. The
Absolutely.
next one, we have Sandy on the phone. And Sandy, what can we read on for you today?
Hey, Sandy.
There are many changes going on in my life right now. I just wanted to know what is the future holding there.
All right. So what's going on? What's going on with
Oh, well,
Sandy?
like my husband wants to retire. I'm finally getting
Uh-huh.
better after being so ill, and using your show to make me feel better was wonderful. And I'm
Well, that's great.
drive again. So I just want to
I
know
am
is
seeing, I'm seeing that he's a confident man, your husband, and I'm seeing him described here as the Knight of Wands, and that's just the way the cards fall. He's a very apparently, your husband's very attractive and full of energy, and he's somebody who always seems to have a lot of energy, and he's great with starting a project. He's so you know what? I don't think he's going to be bored if he retires, because he's not the kind of person that's going to just sit there and feed pigeons in the park. He's going to be doing things. So I wouldn't even worry about him being, he's somebody who is he's enthusiastic about life in general, and I think whatever he decides, he's going to make it work. Really.
Hmm.
um, I at the present time I do see the Eight of Swords, and it seems like it's showing here that you're overwhelmed, because that is what that card means. It depicts a woman bound and surrounded by swords, and it seems like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. Personal problems, issues, and just sometimes you feel like you don't have a whole lot of power. You just kind of like it's like you just kind of have to go with it, because you don't have the power, and that's how you feel. Of course, that's different than how it really is, because you do have the power and you should not feel restricted. It shows here that you might feel like you're forced into living a certain way because of a situation, or because of what you think others expect. Um, but this trapped feeling is going to pass. It's going to pass over. I do see you making decisions, and and I do see you breaking out of that, and I do see you moving on to to fight again. And as you know, it seems like you're always going to be busy. And but actually, this card always says, don't doubt your worth. And the future, for the future, always remember that they want you to remember that you really um, should should always try to understand that you have this wonderful value. You are this wonderful person, and you are a gifted person, but don't doubt yourself in the future. Don't
I
let yourself slip back into feeling, trapped and stuff. So I'm
and
seeing that. Yeah.
I would add to
Go on.
that that I would add to that that I am going to start right there where you left off, Joseph, because
Hmm.
it says this is the card of detachment, and it says,
Yeah.
"Be certain that you will reach the goals you want while letting go of how it's going to happen." So that means that don't analyze things to death. Don't
Hmm.
worry. Detach from all that stuff. It says the main thing is the universe will show you the right path to take to reach your future goal. And a lot of it's going to depend on being fair and honest. And that by being fair and honest with others as well as yourself, you will attract people to you. Your husband will get along better with you. And the
Oh yeah.
main thing I'm seeing is all about detachment. Yes, you haven't felt good. Detach from it. Don't try
Mm.
to overanalyze it. Don't complicate it by getting into it so deeply that you become it. And if I look at what angels are around you during the next, let's say, few months of this summer, and I'm trying to do this quickly because we have more people in the
Oh well.
inquiry. Um, and it says the three angels that are surrounding you, Sandy. And it says, Archangel Kamel, it says, I am helping you with your spiritual soulmate relationship. And it says, Beloved one, you are being helped every single day by your angels. And it says, You rock because you are compassionate. And so, Archangel Zedkiel, soften your heart with respect to the situation of your husband and your illnesses and all people involved, including yourself. And that means detaching from the gunk. And it says, you are very, very, um, it says, notice your reoccurring physical and emotional feelings as they signify divine guidance. You're very clairvoyant, and sometimes your emotions go into illnesses that are actually maybe what we call angel communication, using your body and your feelings and your emotions to give you messages. So don't instead lock into how it feels, but the message that is being relayed to you through the emotional feelings and illnesses, maybe saying things about the path you're taking. So look into it deeper than the feeling itself. And that's what I have, Sandy.
Oh, bless you. Thank you. Thank you both so very much. And
Oh,
I'll
you're
let you get
welcome.
back
You're
to work
welcome.
with other people. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so very much.
You're
You're
welcome.
welcome, Sandy. Bye bye. Emily says, Hi, Anne Marie and Joseph. How do you see my finances over the next 6 months?
Oh, well, I do see that in the past it shows that you have had some a legal or a contractual issue that that was resolved in your favor, and or I am seeing that um, maybe perhaps you had to forgive somebody so you could move on, or I do see that maybe perhaps you had to make good on something that you've done, but I'm seeing it as a positive thing. I'm seeing that a judgment came out in your favor in the past, in the recent past, or if it hasn't happened yet, I do see that it will be happening soon and will be moving into your past very soon, very quickly. At the present time, I'm seeing that you're enjoying a happy memories, and I'm seeing that you are surrounded by good times and friends. I do see um, I do see that you have people to comfort you when you need them, and you're also being reminded to remember good issues, good things about good times, and let go of the bad. Don't think about things like revenge or getting even, and stop thinking about hurt. Okay.
Okay,
I
I'm going
do
to add.
see.
I'm gonna
Okay, go
I'm
on.
gonna
Oh, go on. Yeah, go on.
April, May, and June rock for you. Uh, don't spend too much in April and May. You can relax with your money a little, but if you're going to do any travel or communicating in travel or going places, June looks good. Um, but I'm showing that. July and August, do whatever you can not to spend money. It picks
Hmm.
up again in September. And that's what I see on that. And if I look at the finance or what angels surround you for the next 6 months, I have three angels. The first angel is life review. That would be like Joseph said, your review of your life, anything that you've been judging or being judged on. This is a part of your life review. Understand that the messages you're getting through your physical self are messages about the journey that you're taking in the next 6 months. And lastly, relationship harmony comes up again. That time to communicate and see friends in the next 3 months looks great. Do it. And then top the last 3 months with saving and scrimping and not doing too much. All right, that's what we have. We have
Wow.
more time.
Detailed. I love it.
So if we look at Joseph, you want to end the show with
Well,
saying your
yeah,
prayer?
yeah. And also, too, I got eights on her final thing. So it falls into sync with what you said, because you said September, and I'm thinking the end of August she would see, you know.
Yep.
Okay. So let's close it. We'll say our thing. You're
Our thing.
taking a breath. I bring the cosmic forces into my being, asking for strength, protection, and guidance. I bring the cosmic forces into my being, asking for strength, protection, and guidance. I bring the cosmic forces into my being, asking for strength, protection, and guidance. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
And
And that
thank you,
is all.
Joseph.
And thank you for having
Appreciate
me
see you
on.
for the next 2 weeks of the next month.
Okay, great. We'll see you then. Bye
Bye.
bye.
Hi, I'm Anne Marie Odell at Achieve Radio's Tarot Joy. Come on upstairs. Grab yourself a tapestried pillow and get a down-home, honest reading with 30 years Master Tarot channeling experience. In addition, I will have a weekly spiritual guest from around the world. That's 2 readings per call for you.